Welcome back to Cosmic Comics. Today we're going to continue following the history of the Cosmic Cube. During our first look at the cube, it spent most of its time in the possession of Red Skull, who used it to toy with and torture Captain America. He lost control of the cube when MODOK used a device called a catholite to make the Cosmic Cube unstable, and it melted away. If you want to get caught up before watching this video, feel free to check out my video on MODOK's first appearance and the one on the early story arcs of the Cosmic Cube. Since the destruction of the Cosmic Cube, MODOK has been busy with several plots that I'll touch on briefly. The first of these takes place in Captain America Volume 1, Issue 120, published in 1969 and written by Stan Lee. After the ordeal with Red Skull, MODOK enacts a plan on Manning University where he uses undercover AIM agents to fan the flames of political unrest on the college campus. This is all part of an overcomplicated plan to steal Professor Fosgrave's atomic equations. MODOK's plan is foiled when Captain America arrives on the scene. MODOK next appears in Captain America Volume 1, Issue number 124, published in 1970, written by Stan Lee and Gene Colan. Moving forward, MODOK begins to use robotics more and more. After failing a mission, one of his agents is given the choice between death or to become a cyborg designed to kill Captain America. So, he chooses to be a cyborg, but fails in his mission. The poor guy didn't even know what a cyborg was. MODOK appears again in Captain America Volume 1, Issue number 132 and 133, published in 1970 and 1971, written by Stan Lee. MODOK challenges Doom to create a lifelike replica of Bucky. The Bucky bot passed as the real thing for a time. When MODOK decides to use Bucky to kill Captain America, he discovers that Doom has made the imposter too much like the real Bucky, and the machine refuses to kill Captain America, and this causes it to short-circuit. After the Bucky Barnes robot failed to kill Captain America, MODOK kills two AIM agents for their failure. They ask for mercy, but MODOK refuses their request on the grounds that he has suffered more than any other living being at the hands of AIM. MODOK addresses the fact that he could have just as easily blasted Captain America to kill him, but decides that that would be too simple and quick. After experiencing multiple setbacks due to Captain America, MODOK wants to ensure that he suffers. And then it comes out. The real reason why MODOK hates Captain America, and probably hates so many of the other superheroes he runs across. MODOK says, "When I think of him, so straight and tall and handsome, and then I see myself, I hate him all the more, for he is what I was, what I can never be again." MODOK thinks back to the day when he was brought before the AIM Scientist Supreme. The Scientist Supreme chose George Tarleton as an unwilling volunteer for an experiment in his alteration chamber. George cried out, but the Scientist Supreme was kind enough to tell him exactly where he stood. His screams were useless because George is a nothing, a nobody, one of countless agents. But once AIM was done with him, he would be a living, breathing computer, the greatest brain on Earth, and AIM's deadliest weapon. 24 hours later, the scientist had finished his mental organism designed only for killing, or as he called it, MODOK. Those on the outside of the glass marvel at the monstrosity inside, while they explain to MODOK what has taken place. One thing the scientists hadn't planned on is that their experiments on MODOK made him even more powerful than they ever could have imagined. Upon being released, he instantly kills the Scientist Supreme with a brain blast. 1 hour later, MODOK has taken over the entire AIM organization. Despite his professional success, MODOK remains in a crippled body. Instead of turning that hatred inward at himself, he's decided to focus it all on Captain America. He wants to destroy the one man who symbolizes everything MODOK is not. This leads MODOK to create Bulldozer, which also fails to stop Captain America. Now that we're all caught up on MODOK, let's move over to the Cosmic Cube. The Cosmic Cube appears once more in the Submariner, Volume 1, Issues 47 through 49, written by Jerry Conway and published in 1972. At this time, Namor has lost his memory. Despite Namor's initial misgivings and hesitancy, Victor Von Doom convinces Namor to help him look for the Cosmic Cube. In order to ensure Namor helps him, Doom kidnaps Namor's friend, Cindy Jones. We learn at the end of the first issue of this arc that it is in MODOK's possession somewhere underneath the Gulf of Mexico. Doom gives Namor a backpack which will help guide him towards AIM's underwater research lab. Namor follows the pack's signals to a place on the Gulf floor. On the way down, he fights off a giant manta ray. As soon as one threat is disposed of, another rises from the sea floor. Namor is surprised by a turret rising up out of the ocean floor, which starts firing at him. The same guns begin to fire upon Doom's ship. Rather than being upset, Doom is delighted to see MODOK's machine still work. He seems genuinely excited about the conflict ahead. It's nice that we then get this contrast coming from somewhere in the depths, where we see an excited MODOK who expects the encounter with Doom to be amusing. MODOK tells us how he escaped his latest encounter with Captain America, which ended up with a building collapsing around him. Once again, MODOK used his mental powers to create a force field of protection around himself. Afterwards, he began carving out the ground beneath himself where he had a monorail waiting. It was manned by synthetic humans and had been placed there 2 years ago just in case MODOK ever needed an escape. From there, MODOK returned to an underwater AIM supply depot where MODOK decides he will never trust another human again. MODOK then creates a mouthless android army to serve him. Doom takes his ship into the AIM supply depot. Once there, Doom checks in on Cindy. One of Doom's men is attempting to, well, let's not beat around the bush. He's attempting to rape her. Oddly, Cindy attempts to stick up for the guy once Doom arrives and knocks him out. Doom claims he knows exactly what the guy was doing, and it's something that he doesn't allow. Namor comes to on the sea floor, and from there he enters the supply depot after a giant door opens in front of him on the sea floor. Once inside, we get this great one-page panel of MODOK introducing himself to Namor. The Submariner is interested in only one thing: getting the Cosmic Cube and getting out from under Doom's thumb. He is soon overpowered by the android army, and after the battle is over, MODOK throws in an extra mind blast to ensure Namor stays subdued. MODOK orders his creations to take Namor to the Cosmic Cube. MODOK then radios over to Doom to let him know that the two of them need to have a little one-on-one meeting within the next hour or he's going to kill Namor. Doom leaves his ship for his meeting with MODOK. I have to admit, when first reading this, about getting excited about these two coming together. Right here, we've got Doom, who invaded MODOK, but now MODOK is calling the shots. I mean, this is going on to the extent that Doom begins snarling out orders to his crew. Also, let's not look past how demeaning it is to make your opponent enter the room on a ladder. Once Doom and MODOK come face to face, MODOK wants to talk while all Doom cares about is getting the cube. MODOK responds by refusing the doctor's request and telling him that he can't have the cube, and hitting him with a mental burst. MODOK mocks Doom for making the mistake of coming here. Doom, on the other hand, claims he's here because he's still a man and has things and, feelings and loyalty. We have to take a moment to recognize the hilarity of this next panel. Dr. Doom says, if the alternative is to become a machine like those mock-human toys of yours, then I'll embrace my humanity and have done with it. This is, of course, bitterly ironic when one considers Doom's use of Doombots, Servo Guards, and Victor Von Doombots. Granted, Doom has only had at this point a handful of appearances of such bots at this time, but it makes MODOK's next words ring so much more true, and I do mean only a handful. I looked it up and it's 5. MODOK stipulates that perhaps the reason why Doom hates MODOK is because he sees so much of himself in MODOK. While this is happening, Doom blocks a mental blast from MODOK with a blast of his own. As the androids begin to attack, Doom lets MODOK know that his motivations are his own, and that MODOK's inventions are no match for his strength or technology. Doom will win. In the room where the Submariner has been detained, we learn that MODOK's plan is to use the Cosmic Cube to transfer MODOK's brain into Namor's body. Namor convinces one of the androids to bring him a drink of water. And wouldn't you know, this classic trick works once more. Now that Namor is wet, he has the strength to escape his bonds. Namor makes short work of the androids looking after him. Once they are down, for some reason, he's attracted towards a heavy door with the words "Danger! Radioactive!" and humming coming from behind them. Namor leans into the door and discovers the Cosmic Cube button? Thank goodness there was a Cosmic Cube button. We will have to blame it on his memory loss because right here, Namor opens the door and he seems to have no recollection that he once held the Cosmic Cube way back in Avengers Volume 1, issue number 40. Once the door is open, Namor runs across something unexpected which isn't currently shared with the reader. As more androids come forth to fight Doom, he unironically states that MODOK's penchant for the mechanical amazes him. Doom continues to talk smack as he blasts down the last of MODOK's androids, and the two minds come face to face. Doom goes to blast MODOK, but discovers that MODOK has already fled. I love his analogy. Did you think I was gonna sit around like some stuffed cow for the hunter to appear? Once again, MODOK makes it clear that he would like to have a conversation with Doom. Doom responds by destroying the screen through which the two are speaking and telling MODOK that any such discussion will have to wait until after Doom has the Cosmic Cube in his possession. Now that MODOK is gone, Doom is free to pursue his goal of locating the Cosmic Cube. He pulls out a laser device of some sort and begins using it to dig into the floor. Doom is within inches of reaching his goal when one of Doom's crew members, one that has been replaced in a side plot I haven't been following, and I should add that this guy has the express goal of actually killing Namor, he sneaks up behind Doom and strikes him over the head with a pipe. The guy doesn't unload on Doom just once, but puts in 4 hard blows straight to Doom's dome. Still, Doom struggles around on the ground, but Kenner wants to locate Namor. Kenner could not have foreseen, unfortunately, the forces that end up ending his life. A warmth creeps up from behind him that turns him into ash, and we're told that Kenner was killed by the Cosmic Cube. Cindy Jones flirts with a guard and manages to escape her cell. Upon leaving Doom's ship, she finds Doom on the ground. She rushes in to save him from what she assumes is some form of radioactive blast. Meanwhile, Namor is still fighting off androids when he runs across MODOK. MODOK insists that Namor has no fight in this game, but Namor insists that he's doing all this to protect a girl. MODOK blasts Namor. And then for the second time in this arc, MODOK insists that he's made the right move in moving over to an all-android army because living creatures keep making illogical choices based on their emotions. Namor decides to show MODOK a little emotion. Illogically, he rushes forward, and this is so cool. Namor picks MODOK up and tosses him. Unfortunately, we don't get to see what happens next, but we're told that the explosions that followed could be heard 2 decks away. Doom has had his chance to escape. He was in the plane, and now he's left the plane once more and is wandering, zombie-like, drawn towards the power of the cosmic cube. Namor arrives and insists that Doom needs to leave now. He claims to have released the power of the cube so that neither Doom nor MODOK could use it. He says that he looked into it and saw hell. Namor insists that Doom needs to check his pride and get out of here. Doom takes a moment to consider, and once more we see the comparisons between Doom and MODOK coming out. In his final moments, Doom considers that he could finally restore his scarred face and leave the armor behind. Both Doom and MODOK wanted to use the cube to either escape or restore their physically destroyed bodies. Doom boards his ship and flies himself, Namor, Cindy, and his crew away just in time to escape the blast of an exploding cosmic cube. Later, under a New Orleans street lamp, Doom and Namor part ways. Even though Namor destroyed the cube, Doom feels indebted to him. And as he leaves, Doom points out that Namor has made a friend. These issues right here, these play a real important bridge in developing characters like MODOK and tying together Marvel Comics in a way that makes it really feel like a shared universe. Seeing villains working together and against each other is always great. It's even more fun when it's this early in their career and dealing with items as high profile as the Cosmic Cube. These issues carry the Cosmic Cube from its early story arcs over to one of its most famous story arcs of all time. The Cosmic Cube won't be gone for long, as it plays a starring role in the Thanos War, published the following year, 1973. I'll be covering this soon, but first I want to take a look at Thanos' early life. Thanks for watching Cosmic Comics. If you like this content, check out my other channel, Cosmic Peppers, where I crush hot food challenges, look at pepper history, and do pod reviews. Feel free to hit any of the buttons below. I'm out.